Welcome to City Talk, a weekly conversation produced by the City of Waco to inform you about city events and projects. Each week, we'll bring you interesting topics with city staff and community leaders to highlight how Waco is an exciting place to live and work.
Hello, and welcome to City Talk. I am Teresa Bryant, the Community Outreach Coordinator for the City of Waco Public Works Streets Division. And with me today is Jim Reed. He is the Streets Division Manager. And today we're going to be talking about all the exciting things going on in the City of Waco Street Division. As many of you know, there's lots and lots of work going on. And today we want to concentrate a lot on our Better Streets Waco program. With that, today we're going to talk about our new website. We're going to talk about some specific projects downtown, Elm Avenue, and then we want to go over a few frequently asked questions. Make sure give you guys some information about how projects are chosen, what's going on right now, and most importantly, how you can contact us if you have any questions. So we want to start out by discussing our BetterStreetsWaco.com. BetterStreetsWaco.com is a new website. It's up, it's running, it has tons of information for everybody. You can go to BetterStreetsWaco.com, no spaces, and that will pull up a map for you. And on that map, it's going to show all of our current projects, our past projects, our planned projects, projects that are in design. Everything will be color-coded. There's so much information for everybody on that page. I want to encourage y'all, please take the time to go out, go onto your computer, onto your phone, and check out BetterStreetsWaco.com. You can click on your individual address. You can do a search of your address or just click on the street with your address, and you can learn everything you ever wanted to know about your street right there on the website. If there's a project going on in your area, you can click on that project, get information about that as well. Lots of good stuff on there, lots of good information, very interactive. And we, again, encourage everybody, please take the time, go out and check out BetterStreetsWaco.com. Do you have anything to add about the website, Jim?
No, I think the biggest thing is it's an exciting time in Waco. There's a lot of change going on. There's a lot of construction, and we really ask for citizens to be patient with us. The change is definitely for the good. We're trying to get our streets back to where they're at a condition that makes ride quality across the city enjoyable. I know we get a lot of calls on potholes and things like that, and that's not always the best experience. But, you know, the overall goal of the street program is to really make a difference in the commuting, the local traffic, and just making it a good experience for people that need to travel from one point of the city to the other.
Okay. Another thing we want to talk about, a couple of specific projects, and one of them is downtown. And I was talking to Jim earlier, and we like to call it the never-ending story. I promise you there's an end in sight, but this is a big, big project, lots of stuff going on downtown. And Jim's going to tell us a little bit more about what's going on there and how much more we can expect.
Yeah, so, you know, downtown traffic was problematic long before we started all the development that we have with the street program. But I will say we try to be strategic in what streets that we move forward at each time. So when you talk about Washington being in construction, we don't like to put two parallel routes in competition for moving traffic. So if we've got a north and southbound route, we like to make sure that we're not doing a parallel road to that. And an example would be while Washington's under construction from basically the river to 18th Street, we would not start the construction on Austin or Columbus because that's the parallel routes for citizens to move through the city. So that when we talk about what project we move forward in what fiscal year, where that funding is going to come from, it's got to be a strategic, organized manner that we don't make, you know, we don't want a bottleneck of traffic due to construction. So hopefully, as you travel in the downtown area, yes, you see a lot of barricades and you see a lot of signs and you see a lot of workers, but hopefully you're able to move through the city in a comfortable fashion. I know sometimes there are delays, but those delays are progress within our core of our city, and I think it's long overdue. A lot of what we're facing today is deferred maintenance in the downtown area. A lot of our sidewalks were built, you know, back before World War II, so we're trying to catch up on that. So a lot of people think, oh, you got a construction project and it's all about the street, but there's so much amenity work that has to go in, traffic signals and storm drain system. We don't want to build a new street and then have storm drain issues where you have water standing on the sides of the road. So we try to, even though we don't have the funding to always take care of complete streets, new sidewalks and everything, we try to do as much with our infrastructure that it's an improvement, that we don't come back and have to fix something with our maintenance forces in a very short amount of time. So our goal in the downtown area is to get something complete. It'll last 20 years, and we don't have to come back to that section of roadway for that period of time. But as you know, there's a big grid system downtown. It's a complicated system, but we will get there. It's just going to take time and patience, and I'm sure from Teresa's intro you can see there's a lot of excitement in public works. There's a lot of excitement in water utilities. We partner together to make sure that we get in and take care of these downtown streets the way they should have been taken care of over a period of time. But a lot of that period of time was impacted by available budget. Our council and management team is amazing. The type of money they contribute to the street program is, in my opinion, second to none that has been done in the city of Waco in the past years. So be patient with us. Look for those construction workers to be in your way from time to time, and we want them to come to work and be safe going home, and they start the next day the way they started the previous day. So their safety is a premium to us, not just our contractors, but our in-house maintenance group, our in-house utility group. So, yeah, all working together, we end up with a great product that we can be very proud of in the downtown area.
How about Elm Avenue? What is going on? Lots and lots of great stuff going on Elm Avenue and the vicinity, if you wanted to expound on that.
So, yes, I grew up in Waco and used to play basketball, down at Paul Quinn. And I know that community needed an uplift. And I know that there were studies that started back in 2002 that talked about Elm Avenue and what it could potentially be. And it's nice to go out there and see that it's turning towards what those plans and studies had identified Elm and what it could potentially be. We're kind of on the fledgling end of this redevelopment of the Elm Avenue corridor. As you see work going on, we probably have another 18 months or so to finish out Elm with the money and the planning that we have in play. But, there's been big changes. If you think of the utility lines that used to drape all over the Elm Avenue corridor, we've got those removed. You're starting to see the lighting go up. You're starting to see sidewalks. You're starting to see that core change that you'd call Elm being completely addressed as a complete street type project. The other thing is there's other projects in behind. So once we get through this 18-month period, you're going to see changes to Forest Garrison. That's going to be tying into Elm. You're going to see a J.H. Hines Safe Routes to School project come to life, which will be adding quite a bit of sidewalk from Chestnut to Clifton to Forest Garrison and then back over to Elm. So that's an exciting project. Providing kids safe routes to school, I think that's a program that really needs to be implemented across the state of Texas, and we've been fortunate enough to get that grant. So that project will probably be starting towards the first of 22. But yeah, a lot of change. Bridge Street, exciting project. If you haven't gotten a chance to walk out there, it's open. A lot of foot traffic could get on it and not impact the work that's going on with landscaping and things. Because we're kind of towards that last end of the project where we're just trying to tie it all together. And then here comes the Elm Avenue Corridor project, and it's just going to link and tie MLK to Bridge Street. And we've got plans for Taylor. So I think if you go in any part of the Waco community right now, we have plans. And I think your intro about Better Streets Waco website, it not only shows what's under construction, what's in design, but it shows those streets that we have in the planning component. And one exciting thing that we have going on right now is we have a team put together in Public Works that's going to put a rolling 5-year plan out there so the community can see what a 5-year outlook in your little neighborhood or maybe in your section of Waco or your zone of Waco, what that's going to look like as we start planning, we start designing, and then we eventually get to construction. So yes, exciting times around Elm, but I'd say that they're not isolated. They're spread across the city, and we try to do our most to get in front of everybody, in front of their door, and do improvements. Very much to the nature that you'll see what's going on in the downtown area. We want the local streets to be addressed at the quality that you're seeing going on across the city.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Jim. And it's really, again, that Better Streets Waco website, I can't say it enough. If you could just see everything's color-coded by planned or design, again, or in construction. And when you first pull up that map of the whole city, every area is covered. Everybody's got some type of something going on somewhere all over the city. It's actually it's a good time to work in the street division, but it's a lot of work. So there's a lot going on. And if you've ever wondered, again, well, what are they doing with our tax money? You know, there's potholes. You need to look. Go look, because it'll show you everything you need to know. And I just can't encourage y'all enough. For this next section, if you don't know, if you've never been, and I encourage you all to go, we attend a lot of neighborhood association meetings, or I attend a lot of neighborhood association. I go to different, last week I had the pleasure of going to a Kiwanis senior meetings. Again, our council members, our city managers, they're very, very, very invested in getting public opinion, getting us out to talk to the public, to building a relationship with the public, and that's frankly why I have a job, which is great. So I talk to people a lot. I get a lot of input from citizens. And so during this time, I thought I'd list some of my most frequently asked questions about the street department, streets in general. And absolutely, the number one question I get more than any is, when is my street going to be worked on? And Jim's going to talk a little bit about how we choose streets and how we decide which areas we're going to move to next. But again, look at Better Streets Waco. Maybe your street has already been chosen. We might not be there yet, but it might be in planning phase. So again, that's one good way right away to check to see when your street is going to be worked on. But as far as, again, how we choose which streets to work on, if you could speak a little bit about that.
Yeah, I would start off, I think Teresa introducing the Better Streets Waco website. It is an excellent tool to give us feedback, because if you go to the bottom of that website page, I believe that there's an opportunity to put your information in, to put us some photos of problems you have. And probably the biggest complaint we have across the city is potholes. And us being able to go out and take care of those potholes with our street operations group, that's not something we contract out to a third party, so that's all internal. We have an experienced group, and I would say that our goal, and I think we meet that goal most of the time, is to get out there when we get a call within 24 hours, we've got the repair done. A good tool to use to reach out to us, and I know there's a lot of tools within the city to do this, but at the bottom of the Better Streets Waco website, you can find that input information, and that input information goes directly to Teresa, and we farm it out to our street operations group, and they instantly respond. So I'd ask you to use that for, it could be potholes, it could be base failures, it could be ride quality. We really want to hear from you, because it's not about maybe those more immediate fixes, but when we talk about how we select a street, if we've got a lot of notifications that we're having problems in a certain area, and it could be drainage related, it could be pavement related, we want to try to address those as soon as we can. We don't want those to be deferred from a maintenance standpoint over a period of years. I think that kind of gets us in a bottleneck of having too many projects and not enough money. So if we can get those more important projects queued into how we get those into planning, and eventually get them in design and get them funded and then get them to construction, that's important to us. But I will say that, you know, the first year of the pavement management program, how we exist today, started in 1819. So we've made a lot of progress, and I think that's why you see a lot of the work that's going on, is because our council gave us the tools, number one. They gave us the people, number two, to make it happen. And then three, of course, is funding for construction. And when we talk about tools, council invested in a program called Cartograph. And it's an algorithm-based program that analyzes our entire system. And what it does, it says, okay, if you do this street, you get the best value. If you spend $1 on this particular street, you get the best value in return. So most of our streets, when you talk about value. Any strategy we use has a cost. The cost for addressing a street early in deterioration is probably about $5 a square yard. If you wait and defer it too long, it can end up being about $220 a square yard. Well, we don't want to see that. So we plan to take care of the streets that are in average to good condition. We want to get those back up to where they stay in good condition and they never fall off of that. And then the ones that are more in the poor condition, we try to help our maintenance group with funding to not have to be out there all the time. So we try to move those forward in that manner. But I will say, regardless if you're using an algorithm-based program or you're using a lot of tools that are engineering-generated, community feedback's the number one. So the fact that you're going out to neighborhood association meetings and hearing that voice, I think that's very important to us. Not that we can get every street done that people request, but at least it gives us a way to plan better, to see what problem areas that are going on in the city, and how, with the finances that we have, how we can go out and take care of those streets at the earliest planned, timeline that we can meet. And so community feedback, yes, using the engineering tools, but also just listening across the city. And sometimes that listening is listening to our council members. Sometimes that is listening to our management team. But I would say the majority of the time it comes from those neighborhood association meetings and the different clubs that we have. I mean, Bicycle Club, they are more than active with a pavement program and how we can do something that complements not only motorists but alternative transportation too. So,
absolutely. If you use one of the contacts and you speak to me and you say, "Hey, my street's not on Better Streets," or it's not doesn't show it's being worked on Better Streets Waco. When are they going to be out here? I'm going to take your name, I'm going to take your contact information, I'm going to take your address, and I'm going to put it on a list. And that list is not just some list that I just put things on. When it's time and we have some money and we're looking at a project, the engineers, Jim, they all come to me and say, "What's your list? Well, where are people having problems?" And they'll look at my list and they'll absolutely consider it for reconstruction or whatever it is, depending on the project and the money they have. So that list does mean something. So get those complaints in. I know people usually don't like complaints. That's my job. If you've got something to complain about, I need to hear about it, because we can't fix what we don't know is wrong. So I always encourage people to let me know their issues. Don't yell at me, because nobody likes that. But I want to hear what you have to say. I need to be able to take that information to show them, look, this is what people are talking about. This is where their problems are.
And I'd add to that, me and Teresa are both property owners, and we like to see things happen outside of our front door. We feel like, as taxpayers, we want to see change. We mow our lawns and we take care of our houses, and we try to spend the money where we think it's the wisest investment. And we like to see the public infrastructure improved to that level too. So I don't think we take it as complaints. I think we take it as community feedback that drives us in a positive direction so that we impact the most with a little bit of money that we have. And again, we can't take care of everybody's needs, but our goal with the program when we started in 1819 was to try to be outside of everybody's front door, outside of everybody's business within a 10-year window. That's a huge challenge to us, but that is our committed goal of what we'd like to be able to do with the pavement program, not just today, but moving, years out into the future.
And when you say 1819, you mean 2018, 2019, because neither one of us are that old.
That's correct.
I just want to straighten that out right here. Another big question I get constantly is, and it's kind of funny because we get one question that there's not enough construction, and the other one is, why is there so much construction at once? So it's both sides of the spoon there, but Jim, why is there so much construction going on at once?
Well, I think, we increased from $3 million a year in public works for street improvements to this last year of getting $31 million. That creates change, and we hope the change is not a negative. We hope the change that we're making is a positive influence on growth that our city's going through, that we look out our window and there's a new structure going up, or redevelopment of property that's been here for years. So I think we're just part of that exercise of change. And again, we don't just randomly pick streets. We try, especially in the downtown area, we try to be strategic, that we keep moving traffic the way that it originally functioned. If you go out and look at Washington today, there is a tremendous amount of work going on both sides of the road, but we have 2-3 lanes of traffic open all the time, and that's what we want. We want to not have to block off the road like we're having to do on Elm in certain areas. We'd like to keep that traffic pattern the way it's always been. But with that, there's sacrifices one way or the other, that you're going to have to block off the road. Now you have to create detours, and detours are problematic because now we're putting traffic loads into neighborhoods that are not really built to handle that. So we try to keep the flow of traffic going on, but with that takes a lot of traffic control devices, and we get through that pretty quick. Most of our projects in the downtown area are going to be in the neighborhood of about $3 million each, and they're going to last and span from 12 months to about 18 months. So we don't want to just start stacking projects in the downtown area. So as we get one finished, then we start evaluating what is the natural flow for the next project to come about. But we do listen to business owners, and we make sure that as we listen to them, we make sure we give them feedback. One of the mechanisms we do is we send out mailers to let people know that a project's coming. When a project is finally to the point that is ready to start construction, we give 72-hour notice with another flyer. And then we try to be inside those businesses and property owners' door, at least knocking, to let them know any changes in schedule or scope. We hope we keep the citizens and business owners informed. And that's another thing. We'd like to hear back, what is their experience on a project that's ongoing, like a Fifth Street or like a Webster. What can we do better? The only way we can solve problems is to communicate. And so communication from our citizens and business owners is huge, in not having too much or somebody thinking it's too much, because change creates some uncomfort, but we hope that uncomfort gets away from us really quick, and you get to see all the good that came out of the money that we spent.
Yeah. I want to finish up here because, again, another big one is, what do I do about my potholes? Well, and Jim brought it up already. I'm telling you, please call us, contact us. There are so many different ways you can report any street issue, any pothole, anything that's going on. You can call the street department directly. Their number is 750-8690. Call me. Again, my name is Teresa Bryant, Community Outreach Coordinator, 750-6613. You can go to the city website and pull up the street department. There's a button there that says Contact Us. Click on that. We're going to get the email. BetterStreetsWaco.com. It says Contact Us. Click on that. We're going to get the email. I can almost guarantee within 24 hours or one working day, maybe not over the weekends, if you send us an email, you are going to get a response. And just to give you an example of how it works, if you call in and say, there's a pothole on my street, you're going to get a response email that says, thank you. It's going to give you the work order number and let you know that a crew has been given the work order to get that pothole. And again, within 48 hours, you should see someone out there fixing that pothole. We want these potholes fixed. We don't like them any more than y'all do. We drive on these streets as well. So we need to know where they're at. Your help is extremely appreciated. Go ahead, send the emails, call them in. We want to get them fixed. And this, as like I said, goes for other street problems as well. You got to contact us, betterstreetswaco.com. Street Department, City of Waco website, so many different ways, and we definitely want to hear from you. We can't fix what we don't know is wrong. So that, I can't stress that enough, that we want to hear from you. And again, that's my job, so I definitely want to hear from you, and we want to get these things fixed. That's really all we had today. I think we covered a lot, though.
Yeah, it's been a good day.
It has been a good day, and I hope y'all got some information. So we want to thank you for taking the time to watch us, and I guess we'll see you on down the road.
We hope you enjoyed City Talk, a production of the City of Waco. Catch this program on local radio stations on Sunday mornings at 6:30 a.m. Find the podcast on your favorite podcast streaming service by searching City of Waco, or view it online at wccc.tv.